Going live, and ready to go here. Good morning, YouTube. And if you're watching this as a rerun, you can skip ahead about 15, 16, 17 minutes when we start the actual radio broadcast. Just getting on here a little bit earlier than usual, just because I'm bored out of my mind. And we're going to make sure to keep time here with everything. So, radio stations will back time here after a couple minutes and make sure you guys are on the same schedule as what we're doing here. Also, let me know if audio's coming through, all that good stuff. If you're tuning in, let me know. Send me a chat on the audio side. All right, morning, Waylon. Jesse, morning. Thanks, Waylon. Appreciate it. Oh, baby. Am I glad not to be in San Diego anymore, but that place has changed a little bit. All right, Todd Mitchell, thank you, sir. I'll do a time here for you right away since I know you're listening. Ooh, let's see here. I'll do a 6:51:30. It's going to be a few seconds here. 6:51:37, 51:30 Central Time. That will be checked in here shortly. All right, Todd, here we go. 6:51:30 on mark. See what kind of delay we have today. I'll be listening on the app and live on 550 in my picker to check the delay at the first break. Okay. That'll work. Yes, I'm in the closet again. Morning, Karen. Good to have you along here. I'm in the back. I'm in the bat cave again. Yes. What do we got here? Why did I come back from Vegas? 1 second delay on your end. Okay, that's not bad. I know it. So Todd, I was when Jesse filled in. I was listening on the app, iHeart app, and there's a substantial delay on that compared. So if I need to alter my intro music for my break and outro music a little bit longer, let me know. So that way it doesn't get cut off or anything. Trying to work on that. I've never listened much on the app before. Usually I'm around where I can catch it on my phone or I'm on the radio. And what else? Who else is texting me here? That's about it. Yeah, other than that, had to delay flights delayed and delayed and delayed for me, but fortunately not canceled here. KGFX, good morning. Appreciate you guys down in the Pier area. Even though I get messages from Oren Lesmeister on a daily basis here on the state capitol and what's going on down there. Probably try to get him on next week, see what's happening. App delay is due to buffered audio. Got into the show perfectly last week, but I was gone by the breaks. Okay. 10-4. Morning, Wayne. Good enough. All righty. Yeah, I'm going to call up old Johnny. Let's see here. I'm going about it the wrong way. Scottabology, good morning.
Hello.
Morning, John.
Morning. Did I miss you? I was out feeding the horses. Sorry.
No, I just, first time I tried calling here.
Okay.
Live on YouTube as our pre-show here right now, just to let you know.
Whoa, I just dropped my phone. Sorry. Another brisk morning out there, huh?
I haven't been outside. I have no idea.
Well, the turkeys are standing with one leg up.
My app shows It's 11 above in Amadon right now.
Really?
Is what it shows. I'm actually down here in the Black Hills again. Just got back from San Diego.
How was that?
Not too bad. Of all the places, so I'm not a city guy, man. So like after one day, that's about enough of that. But I had meetings mostly all during the day. But San Diego has a big military presence in it, so it's a little bit different feeling than like San Francisco and LA and all that. But the weather was cool, and when we left, it was like 70-mile-an-hour winds and some snowstorms to the north of us in the hills and or mountains or whatever. But I'll tell you this right now, they wear parkas at 60 degrees.
Yeah,
So,
I know. My son's out in California right now, and he said the same thing. It's like 55 degrees.
yeah.
I think everybody's cold right now. We're -9 this morning, so we're actually way warmer than we were yesterday.
Huh.
I think we had 26 or 29 below yesterday morning.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have somebody feeding cows while I was down there. So she took care of the place and dogs and horses and cows and all that. Dave from Minnesota, good morning. Appreciate you tuning in here this morning.
So Dixie got to go with you?
She came with. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
She goes out and does her running and everything while I'm at the morning meetings, and then sometimes she comes and sits into some of the seminars in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So works out pretty good.
Is that for the what do you call it? Your
broadband company? Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Not a bad gig. Did you learn anything? Anything new?
Oh, yeah.
Crazy technology coming?
There's always technology coming. The problem is right now the biggest talks were this money that your favorite president put out for rural broadband. There's all this money available, but all these hoops that you got to jump through to try to.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you got to be connected. You got to be connected to wind turbines and electric cars.
It's a lot of mapping and just stupid stuff that you got to go through. So when people hear, that's the biggest problem. When people hear, oh, there's money available for broadband all over the place, I can't see why you're not getting, fiber optic put in here, here, or here. There's more to it than that. They got a lot of hoops to jump through, and then sometimes they're denied that money too, and you never hear that. And then sometimes the big companies like the Verizons or AT&Ts get a good portion of it as well. And then, of course, we talked about, Starlink, Elon Musk stuff. And, everybody's thinking and in California, that's a big thing down there. They think that Elon Musk walks on water. And then one of the Uber drivers I had, I was like, well, what's your speed with Starlink? And he's like, well, what do you mean? He says, I can get it right here on my phone. I'm like, well, here, download this speed app. And they checked it, and it was like 25 and 3. And I'm like, well, at home, I said, we're at, I think the ranch, we're at like 800 by 800, or some people are full gig, 1,000 by 1,000. He about fell over. He was like, I can't believe that. That and 5G. Wow. If anybody says that 5G is better than 4G, they're lying.
Yeah, there's something. I think there's something about. Yeah, I do. And then the Starlink is not cheap. It's like $100, or I can't even remember what it was. It didn't seem very cheap to me when I saw it.
No, it's not. But then there's government subsidies, of course. If you want internet bad enough, and they don't even really care. The government right now, they'll give you $30 if you want to sign up to get help on your internet bill, and $75 if you're Native American.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, interesting.
Yeah,
but
as new technology, the new technology is getting everybody hooked up. That's it. That's all they're focused on right now, because of after COVID, they realized the areas, like North Dakota made national news having 1 gig service available to all schools way before COVID was even a glimpse in anybody's eye.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody's kind of looking at that. We're like, well, good majority of North Dakota is already fibered out. So What's new after that? I'm not sure. Where do you go from there? So hold on a second. Stations, we're going straight up 7 o'clock, 70000, and that is on Mark. So 6 minutes of showtime, John.
Yeah, that have you been following that artificial intelligence stuff?
Yeah, we went through a little bit of AI down there.
It's insane what they, and again, like people don't understand is it's a programmer that programs them. It just doesn't build itself. And it's funny how they were talking about it, how it will answer questions and it will lean to the left on things. And then when you ask it why did you come up with that answer? It's like, I'm just an artificial intelligence, but I mean, it's crazy. And then they talked about these things are going to be so smart. That's like some of these shows that when they say take over the world, it's, and that Klaus Schwab wants it to be that way. I watched him say about artificial intelligence will be our leaders, our masters. And I'm like, holy crap, there's some whacked out people out there.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Well, I got in a little bit of a skiff with one of the Uber drivers because he was really, he picked us up in a Tesla.
Yeah.
And I said, so how much did you pay for this? He's like, they're out in California, they're like 70 or 80 grand for a Tesla car,
Mm-hmm.
And I says, the hook, I said, it's good that you guys buy this. I said, the more Teslas you guys order and buy and manufacture, the longer the coal powered electrical needs to be around North Dakota, because this is where your power's coming from. And he's like, no, we just plug them in. And I'm like, I get you. I said, but your electricity. And so we had that argument. Then we got an argument about autonomous cars. And
oh my gosh.
And he's like just a huge into. He's like, that's going to be the best thing. As soon as I can afford to get an autonomous vehicle, I'm buying one of those. He said that'll help my, as an Uber driver. He says I'll be able to line up 2 or 3 more rides while I'm driving. He says, because it'll be on autonomous. I said, if you get in an accident, I said, who do they sue? Who are the insurance companies going to go after? The driver or the software company? Or, I mean, who they're going to go after somebody. I mean, they're going to say, well, if they get in an accident, software must not have worked somewhere, right? Something must have been goofy. Who do they go after? He's like, that's a good question. I said, I think the insurance rates on autonomous vehicles are going to have to go sky high. I mean, they're going to have to be crazy expensive.
And I just got off the phone yesterday with my insurance agent who does a wonderful job for us. The cost of insurance and what it's going to do in the next couple of years, she said, companies are not insuring out in Minnesota, North Dakota. Our rate went up a couple $100. She goes, you guys are lucky because most people's went up quite a bit more, like our farm policy, because of the wind and hail is hitting such wide swaths where it used to be kind of like a spot here, a spot there. She said these companies are losing. Some of these companies are so broke, they're going bankrupt, which is hard to believe. But she said it's crazy how in 1 year, one storm can destroy a company. She goes, they'll never recoup that ever from their customers because of it. And she said insurance is the cost of replacing roofs, where it used to be a house my size, maybe 5,000, now they're, 12,000. So everything has gone up in material. She goes, it's getting crazy right now.
Yeah.
And cars are the same way. You get an accident today, your whole car will shatter because it's all plastic.
Yeah. Well, and you look at that, and people have more stuff. There's just more vehicles than there has been before. So there's, more homes being built. So, all right, couple minutes till showtime. 2 minutes. So yeah,
what's on the agenda today? You got any good topics?
Well, there's a bill in South Dakota. I want to talk. They want to do landowner elk tags, and that's getting kind of bumped around with different amendments, and now it's kind of at a standstill. And the House Appropriations Committee kind of said no, we're not. The amendments that they did, and they also wanted to jump it up to a little bit more land in order to receive one, and kind of got me thinking. Wonder if that's not always a bad idea.
More land?
I think so. The 160 acres anymore. There's so many people that are just buying 106 or 150 acres in order to get a gratis tag.
Right.
Granted, it's not a lot of land to hunt on, but I don't think they're just staying on their own property. I think they're cheating a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe a guy has to go up a little bit more, or is that a bad thing? Because now you're going to have these, people that have no interest in agricultural land buying sections of land.
Yeah, because that, right. And again,
okay, stand by. We're at 30 seconds to showtime, so sorry to cut you off here, but
nope, we're good.
All right, we're gonna go quiet here, stations here for a second, and get ready to go on the radio program. Eric, good morning. Good to see you. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors, live and local across the Dakota Territory. Great stations all across South Dakota. KGFX, the capital city, Pierce, South Dakota. KOLY in Mobridge, South Dakota. On the North Dakota side, K-Fire 550, the voice of the Northern Plains in Bismarck, Mandan. KCJB in Minot, and in the West Edge, KLTC in Dickinson. Good to have you along here this morning. And a big thanks last week to Jesse Flath for filling in for me, as I had to head down to some meetings and seminars in sunny San Diego, California, although I wouldn't say as sunny a whole lot of the time. No doubt about that here, but 60 degrees in California means you have to wear parkas, and I was in t-shirt weather because it felt pretty darn nice, especially when I looked at the radar and saw the cold temperatures going on back at the ranch. And also big thanks to Wynette for sticking around and feeding cows for me and checking on horses. My guest is John Arman. John, good morning from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV and more. I think you could start more businesses, I think. Consulting.
No.
John's
I think I'm
consulting.
I'm consulting. I'm not sure what I'd consult on.
Well, we're going to consult on a few things today, and that's, we got a new year going on. Some legislative updates that I know Jesse checked on and hit on a few of them last week, and I see they kind of revamped the baiting in North Dakota side. We'll get to a South Dakota bill that I want to discuss here in a little bit, but in the North Dakota side now, it claimed that you can bait from like end of August to the beginning of January during big game season, and I really don't know. I mean, you have to have certain limits and 50 pounds or more or whatever it is, I guess. What did you know about this right now?
Well, I talked the other day to one of the representatives, super nice guy doing a great job, Mr. Ruby, and kind of talked about the way it's written. And I guess I don't understand the process completely, but they somehow can rewrite it a little bit or maybe take some things out because it's kind of muddied up the water the way it's written. It originally started where people wanted the ability to bait. And they threw in amendments, and there's amendment about 55 gallons, which is like 300 and some pounds, I want to say. And there's a setback rule of 150 feet off property lines. And there is some other language in there. They talked about bird feeders and things. And I think what happened is guys started looking at other places and started pulling, and it really didn't make a lot of sense. And talking to Matt, that's the thing I, was saying is that, right now I can feed deer on my property at any place, anytime, as much as I want. There's no law against it, as long as I'm not hunting over it.
Right.
And so the setback rule really has no effect on that if I'm just feeding them. And it's also property rights. So
big time.
That one is a concern of a lot of them. And I think they're going to try to get it cleaned up. And again, in my opinion, if this is going to go through, it would be the 55-gallon limit would take care of a lot of concerns across the country, just because of the amount of bait some people dump when truckloads are dumped, semi-loads, and that gets kind of wars between neighbors. So I'm not sure. I just know that they got to clean it up a little bit, but it did go through in quite a positive fashion, through the House. So now it gets cleaned up and it goes into the Senate, and we'll see what happens from there.
Do people really dump like semi loads or grain
Yes.
truck? They really do that much?
Yes, there's guys that I've heard, and it doesn't happen out west because of our terrain, I would say, but I'm sure there's guys that still dump bushels and bushels, but you go out east where they have some of the sugar beet stuff that they can, I think there's like screenings or cleanings from them or shavings that they can dump. And I think it changes the pattern of deer. I'm not worried about the CWD side of it as much as I am. It changes the pattern of deer. It gives them an artificial food source that is unbelievable. And again, people have to realize that if you're going to feed deer, you need to do it. It's no different than feeding your horses or anything else like that. You gotta be smart about it. Otherwise, you can hurt the deer. Because of the amount of corn that you're giving. Because corn is not considered would be a healthy diet for a deer just eating strictly corn. So I think there's people out there that do some kind of crazy things that are gonna to try to draw on as many deer as possible, and I think it does cause some anxiety among landowners.
Do you think that there's more farming than there was a couple hundred years ago, right?
Yes.
Do you think that the deer will adapt? I mean, if a person goes out there and you plant, 640 acres, a section of corn, deer are going to be inside of this thing. They're going to do that. Are they what over years are they going to adapt so it's not as hot of a feed for them? And not only that, do you do you think that because of the farming practices and more crops that they're grazing than they were 200 years ago, are the deer becoming more consistently bigger?
Oh, I would have to say that when you look at the latter part of your question, getting bigger, when you look at west versus east and the size of a guy would think out west in the Badlands, we have 180-inch deer running everywhere. And it's kind of the opposite. You go out east where the soil is very rich in nutrients and minerals. You're talking farmland that's got, what do they say out there in that Red River Valley, like 15 feet of topsoil or whatever.
Yeah.
The size of the deer out there, to me, are considerably larger, rack size, everything. And I think that all goes back into where they come from, what area. That's why in Iowa, you look at the deer in Iowa, I have friends out there and you're talking giants. I mean, you pick up a 150-inch, 160-inch shed out there and they're like pop cans, the mass on them. And then the body size on their deer, a 250-pound deer, 240-pound deer is really nothing to them. And I think it has a lot to do with the crops and the nutrients out there. And I'm hoping, and I would think deer would be no different. I guess cattle would be the same way, or horses. Over time, they're going to adjust to what they're eating.
Yeah.
But I still believe the biggest key, like right now with ours, we had a standing cornfield, which is awesome. But we have a ton of browse because the pastures are not overgrazed. And we've got areas that are wooded areas that are fenced out from cattle and things like that. So it leaves some of that browse for them naturally. And then the hills, one of the first things you see on a cold year like this year with all that snow, as soon as our hills blew off, you're talking the highest peak, and they had to, go through snow to get up there to that open ground. They were up there and they were eating the junipers, the yuccas, all the natural plants. So they have that natural browse, which they need, to make their stomachs, work properly.
Well, it's no different than human beings can overindulge in a certain thing too and feel a little bit ill.
Oh yeah, I think you can look pretty much anywhere and see that.
Yeah. especially when you get into his big city, my friend. I'll tell you that here. Anyway, we're kind of up against the first break here. So again, John Arman is my guest from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. You can find all of his videos all across any of the social media platforms. And if you'd like to chime in today, I'm in my mobile studio. I shouldn't say that. I'm in the South Dakota studio today, John. I'm in the Black Hills studio. So you need to text me at 701-425-6651. That again is 701-425-6651. You can also live chat with me on my YouTube channel, Dakota Prairie Outdoors Radio. Feel free to do that as well. We'll be back with more after these messages.
The DK Red Angus Top Coming to Town production sale, Saturday, March 4th, 2 p.m. at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. Selling 70 purebred Red Angus bulls, 6 Angus sired bulls, 40 purebred open heifers, commercial open and bred heifers from the Tofty Ranch, 10 commercial open heifers from Kevin Gunther, and 50 F1 Hereford Red Angus commercial open heifers from the Arrow P Ranch. Bid online at DV Auction. Fresh genetics, calving ease, and good dispositions with the DK Red Angus Top Coming to Town sale, Saturday, March 4th, 2 p.m., Sitting Bull Auction.
As an independent insurance agency, Dakota Community Insurance partners with leading insurance companies to offer products that are designed around you and your farm insurance needs. As a leader in farm and ranch insurance, we can help you to minimize the risk to you and your operation, including farm equipment, livestock, farm buildings, and crops. Stop into your local branch to visit with our insurance agent or visit DakotaCommunityBank.com. You can rely on us when nature strikes. Dakota Community Insurance.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
The Sorensen Ranch production sale is Monday, March 6th, 1 p.m. Central Time, Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. The Sorensen Ranch is your source for Simmental bulls that are bred for docility, longevity, fertility, and calves that'll push the scale down. Selling 42 Sim Angus bulls, 50 commercial heifers. If you would like more information, visit their website at sorensenranch.com or find them on Facebook. And you can bid online sale day at DV Auction. The Sorensen Ranch production sale, Monday, March 6th, 1 p.m. Central at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Pfeiffer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pfeiffer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to Pfeifers.com. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
When it comes to picking the right financial institution that best suits your unique banking needs, we invite you to come bank with Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Recently named North Dakota's best small bank in Newsweek's America's Best Banks in 2021, we believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our online and mobile customers, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking. Here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time come. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Dakota Prairie Outdoor Saturday edition continues here. Well, I'm going to say a lot better Saturday morning because it looks like the rest of the week here, everybody's sending me Snapchats about how much warmer it is this morning than it was yesterday morning. John Arman, my guest here from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. Welcome back, John.
Thank you, sir.
So we're going into the break, discussing habitat of deer, maybe getting bigger and better antlers. People like to see that. Okay, bottom line, everybody that goes out hunting, I don't care where you hunt, they like to see the big racks on the deer. I like to see a good, healthy body size on them as well. But that's one thing that I think has pushed a lot of people into the hunting side of things is chasing those antlers, right? So why would I can't see why some of these organizations who, pride themselves in showing how big of bucks they have sometimes, and why wouldn't they support the mineral side of things or supplementing some of this to the deer side and standing up for private property rights of letting us do what we want to do on our property?
That's a good question. But I think a lot of it, we talked a little bit over the break, is some of it is the fear that's been set in by CWD. And again, I compliment the Game and Fish for a lot of what they do. I think this was a battle. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because all these other organizations are on board and they're kind of all tied together. I don't know if that's the big push on this. And again, regardless of how you feel on this, it's kind of like our world today is that people just lose their mind. And compromise is how we've gotten through where we're at in our country. You have to compromise on things. Both sides have to give. You look at the science, you look at what the people want, you look at everything. Compromise on some of that because it scares me. I listened to another podcast with our state vet, not state vet, but Charlie Bronson from the Game and Fish, and they brought up about killing deer again. And a lot of these programs I saw in Missouri, they're shooting thousands of deer again to find 20 deer, and it seems like there's a big push on that again. And they've shown that it does not work. That all the killing that they've done doesn't stop the spread of CWD. They're talking about it's in all the older bucks, and so they want to kill all the older bucks, which, again, I don't see the science behind it whatsoever. So I really think that there's got to be some compromise on this. And if the deer have not fallen off the face of the earth in the last 60 or 70 years since the inception or when they say CWD came, I really don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that no matter how you feel about it, just keep a level head on it and voice your opinion, because that's why we have our legislatures, and that's why we have the way things are in the United States, is we get the people get to voice their opinion, and that way you get to stand up for what you believe in. But you don't bully people, badmouth people, and there's a lot of that going on, even right here in the local area about this bill, and it's sad.
Yeah, what's sad is how political hunting has become now. Let's go into some questions. Eric out of South Dakota says, what's your guys' thoughts on the best things for food plots for deer, like sorghum, corn, millet, oats, winter rye? What do you think?
Well, it's one of those deals. I still believe that one of the best, you look at protein, you look at soybeans. I don't know how many soybeans they grow in South Dakota and some of those areas.
A lot.
Right. And so and again, so if you want to hunt over it, if you're looking like something like a kill plot to draw them in, you try to find something that they, it's kind of like candy or what they want that it's different than around there. But, soybeans, corn, the brassicas, and anything that you can keep green during a different time of year. So if it's starting into October, looking at putting in winter wheat and stuff in end of September, so you got green in October and stays green as long as you can, possibly keep it, they're going to come to it. And my daughter and her boyfriend, Connor, do a lot of hunting down there in millet fields, spot and stock.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the deer are in there just for bedding or if they're actually feeding in it. but they've killed some giant deer in millet fields and sorghum fields. So
yeah, I've heard a lot. I like corn. For one reason is you get that usually tends to grow a little bit taller, and deer like that. They like being hidden, right? So I mean, corn is always a good one there, and I think a lot of people are switching over to millet too, John, and putting a little millet with soybeans in there, kind of mixing it in together. Another question comes in. It says here, with all the snow we have this year in Minnesota, he says, I have 60 deer coming into my hay bales. If I didn't have those hay bales, he said he sure would have lost quite a few deer this year. So deer are going to go where they can find access to food, especially in the rough winters. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And another text, the whole baiting issue is based off of two things: control and jealousy. It says the Game and Fish wants more control, and folks who don't have land think it's not fair. If they owned land, they would be promoting more landowner rights. Interesting take. Is that what you're seeing mostly in the legislative side? Is it mostly people that don't own property that want to go out and think that they have the privilege of hunting everywhere else?
I guess I don't think that. I think there's going to be people that are going to be jealous of other people all the time. And I think nowadays people are able to voice their opinion on it because they're keyboard warriors way easier. And like I've always said, I don't like all these talk forums for the fact that people don't have to put their name behind it. If you have to put your name behind a stupid comment, it may not be put out there. But if you can put, Pike Slayer on there or Deer Whacker behind it and call people names, then there's no accountability. And that's the way our country is right now. There's no accountability on a lot of this stuff. And I think if you have an opinion, that's fine. It's just how you voice it, whether you look like a good guy or a bad guy or just an average guy. And I think there's going to always be people that are going to be fighting over something. And it seems like nowadays this public versus private it's been pushed into the limelight with a lot of these hunting shows and guys that say that I'm, do it yourself and I hunt public only. And that's great. But you shouldn't look down on the guy that hunts private, because again, the private guys are giving the public guys the animals to hunt, because there's not many places that would have animals on if it wasn't for private land sanctuaries where guys control it a little bit, because we all know what happens on public property. It gets hammered. And if there wasn't a reprieve for those animals, would we have many animals on these beautiful public lands?
Right. Another text comes in, says, finally planting 5 acres of corn this year. Should be a good bird and deer season. So, a lot of people doing food plots for the first time. Question from Jesse comes in, says, will deer flounder like horses or bloat from overeating like a cow? If so, then how is there not hundreds of dead deer laying around everybody's silage piles, or when they pile corn up outside of, if their grain bin storage isn't enough, or around grain elevators or any of that?
Well, I think is it called acidosis? Is that what it's called? But they do. If you'll find deer dead with full stomachs of corn, and they've died of nutrition or something. And again, I'm not a biologist when it comes to it, but I know it does happen. And I think a lot of that has to do with if there's other browse around. That deer naturally, they're a ruminant, so they're always, they need that different, their chambers and the process that they use. And I think if they eat nothing but corn, and I think sometimes when we have these long stretches of cold weather and they're not moving very far, if they have the candy right in front of them, they don't have to go anywhere else. They're going to go to it. But the one thing about going to a cornfield is you have to work at it. Going to a silage pile, that's different. And I know some of these farmers and ranchers can chime in, because I've heard other guys talk about it, that they definitely find dead deer around some of their silage piles and things like that.
We're not talking like hundreds of dead deer, or like what it's meant to kind of. I think people are using a scare tactic, saying if they have straight corn, they're going to die.
No, you're right. There's going to be some of them that are, and there's going to some that are going to indulge, and So I don't think it's a high number whatsoever. I mean, when we had those bad winters, we found more yearlings than anything dead in the haystacks, just laying there where they froze to death.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, John, we're up against our next break here. Coming up in the second half of the radio program, we're going to be discussing some South Dakota stuff that I'm going to lead it into something more. and it's going to be talking about more land and landowner tags and how things are going across some of that issue. But kind of got me thinking about gratis tags or landowner tags, whichever way you want to call them. We'll talk about that next. Plus, taking your comments, 701-425-6651. Back after this.
The DK Red Angus Top Coming to Town production sale, Saturday, March 4th, 2 p.m. at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. Selling 70 purebred Red Angus bulls, 6 Angus sired bulls, 40 purebred open heifers, commercial open and bred heifers from the Tofty Ranch, 10 commercial open heifers from Kevin Gunther, and 50 F1 Hereford Red Angus commercial open heifers from the Arrow P Ranch. Bid online at DV Auction. Fresh genetics, calving ease, and good dispositions with the DK Red Angus Top Coming to Town sale, Saturday, March 4th, 2 p.m., Sitting Bull Auction.
As an independent insurance agency, Dakota Community Insurance partners with leading insurance companies to offer products that are designed around you and your farm insurance needs. As a leader in farm and ranch insurance, we can help you to minimize the risk to you and your operation, including farm equipment, livestock, farm buildings, and crops. Stop into your local branch to visit with our insurance agent or visit DakotaCommunityBank.com. You can rely on us when nature strikes. Dakota Community Insurance.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
The Sorensen Ranch production sale is Monday, March 6th, 1 p.m. Central Time, Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. The Sorensen Ranch is your source for Simmental bulls that are bred for docility, longevity, fertility, and calves that'll push the scale down. Selling 42 Sim Angus bulls, 50 commercial heifers. If you'd like more information, visit their website at sorensenranch.com or find them on Facebook. And you can bid online sale day at DV Auction. The Sorensen Ranch production sale, Monday, March 6th, 1 p.m. Central at Sitting Bull Auction, Williston, North Dakota. MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Mo Rest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Pfeiffer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pfeiffer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to Pfeiffers.com. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
When it comes to picking the right financial institution that best suits your unique banking needs, we invite you to come bank with Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Recently named North Dakota's best small bank in Newsweek's America's Best Banks in 2021, we believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our online and mobile customers, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Don't you worry, I want comes. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors here across the Dakota Territory and around the world on my YouTube channel as well. Thanks for chiming in here again. 701-425-6651 if you want to text me. Any comments, concerns, whatever. John Arman from Ultimate Outdoor Adventures. Welcome back here for the second half. You ready to talk some more legislative issues, John?
Sure.
All right.
Sounds good.
Don't sound too excited about it there, buddy.
No, I'm like I said, it's one of those deals that's funny because no matter what you say, there's someone going to be mad at you or someone's going to throw egg at you. And it's like we talked on the break. I honestly, with this baiting, I just think if there was some compromise made, that wouldn't be in the legislature right now. There wouldn't be this big fight, and people have got to learn to compromise on things. And the Game and Fish has to compromise because if you don't, this is what happens. And someone was saying, well, this is, really stupid because we're taking away the power and this isn't the way it's supposed to be. And if you follow how the rules are made in our state, this is how it is made. The Game and Fish doesn't have the power to make all these rules and regulations. You can look at the century codes. Those century codes are not made by the Game and Fish. And there's a whole section on century codes on hunting and fishing. And they were made by the legislature, brought up by people, that represent their constituents. So this is the process that we go through when there's not compromise made and people want a change.
And that's one thing I know the South Dakota side has a commission. North Dakota tried to implement that and it was voted down quickly, and that's too bad. I think a look like that, I think that would be kind of an interesting way to go about it. But I'll talk about that with I'll try to get one of the South Dakota legislators on next week. Couple of questions before we get into my next rant that I want to go on here. Wayne says, I just hope that if the baiting law passes, Game and Fish doesn't retaliate by shortening the bow season. And Tim says, during the heyday of the Fredonia elevator, he says, corn and soybeans are piled each fall. Each winter, a couple hundred deer lived in town. He said some of the deer did die at those piles, which you and I were discussing on the break. I think some of these deer that live in agriculture acres where they plant corn and soybeans year after year after year, I think some of them get they get used to it, right? It'd be like taking my cows and taking my beef herd out East River into really thick, lush grass, and they would blow it up and die in a hurry. They're just not used to that. So anyway, another text message says, will banning baiting allow game wardens to enter private land at will because they're looking for baiting sites? Good question.
No, they can't do it now. And again, I'm not a lawyer, so if there's one of my buddies out there that wants to chime in on it, that's a state's attorney that has done this stuff. The Game and Fish cannot come onto your property looking for bait sites. It's one of those things that they have to follow rules and regulations just like everybody else. Sure. So regardless, it would be no different than we have right now. And the units that we have, no baiting, they don't come in looking for it. They don't come driving in saying, I want to see your tree stands. They don't have a right to do that.
Yeah. All right. So in the South Dakota side of things, John, there was a House Bill 1100. And this was to allow landowner on owned land elk tags, because there are more elk running across some of the private land in South Dakota, and they're like North Dakota would like to see a landowner tag, or we call them gratis tags. And it went through a couple of it started out just very simple, and then of course it got amended, restricting the landowner taking of elk from the land on their own property, specified hunting season. Then that got crossed out, and then they added in specified prairie elk season only, and then restricts the holder to taking antlerless elk only. And the holder has to own and operate on the property situated in the prairie elk units. And this is what got me is this is the latest one here. Consists of at least 640 contiguous acres. And first off, right now it didn't pass. It's kind of at a standstill now because of the amendments. And I feel the amendment of putting antlerless only was one of them, and 640 acres, right? Those are the two things that pop out in my mind. And so your take first off, if it's a gratis tag, should it be antlerless only, whether it's deer or elk? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, again, we've talked about this, and I don't know South Dakota's history. Does South Dakota do they give a gratis tag for deer?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They call them landowner tags. We say gratis, same thing. Yeah, so just so people know when they're listening. Yeah.
Right. Again, I truly believe, and this isn't because I own land, because I would feel the same way. You have to give something back to the people that are taking care of the wildlife and giving other people opportunities to hunt. So I like the landowner tags. I would even like to see it where, if some of these states, I like what they do, or I think Utah, where if they allow X amount of people to hunt their property, they may even be given another tag to use and however they want to. So the landowner tags I have no problem with. I sometimes wonder about the 100, the quarter.
That's the second thing I'd like to discuss. Let's talk about I'll pose this question to you. So in depends on where you're at. So North Dakota used to be 160 acres. They dropped that to 150 because there's some short quarters when you're on township lines or correction lines or what have you, right? So they dropped it down so people, if you have that, you can get yourself a gratis tag, landowner tag. But you have to hunt on that land. You can't say, well, I have this right next to my buddy who's got a 2,000 acre ranch and sneak over there. You're supposed to stay on your owned property. Right. Is that if a person would go to 640 acres, would it take away some of those people that might live in town saying, you know what, I'm just going to buy this quarter so I can get a guaranteed tag every year? Or is it going to push more of those people to start owning more agricultural land and take that out of production?
Hey, I'm not sure
How
on
about
that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on that one. And again, like I said, I hate to put value on elk versus deer. To me, giving a guy a tag for 150 acres for a deer is not a terrible thing. But giving an elk tag for a guy with 150 acres, it seems a little bit, too much in my opinion. But that's just an opinion. And I don't know how we do it in North Dakota. For the gratis, that these landowner tags that they're getting, I don't know exactly how they work with elk. I know they're different for moose, because I don't know if landowners get moose tags for gratis tags. I don't know if they've gone to that point of it. So there's some, I'm not sure about that.
They have not. So the elk side works if you're in a certain unit, of course.
Right.
And for a certain time of that, when you get a landowner tag for an elk, you are only to hunt the area that you specified for up to a certain date. After a certain date, it opens up that you can hunt anywhere in that unit. That I'm not a real big fan of that logic there, but it is what it is, right? That's how it is right now on the North Dakota side. South Dakota side, they're trying to get a landowner tag, and people are fighting them. I don't think they should.
And I'm not sure why people. And again, that's the public's perception. I don't know that. I'm not sure how South Dakota works on that. Why they wouldn't want to do that with the landowners. And we were just talking the other day again about that North Dakota one. So like if you're in that specific unit, I know that they'll have like a draw between landowners.
Yes, it's still a lottery between landowners. Right. Except in the north side up by Medora, there's a few, they get them every year.
Right. Yeah. So let me ask you this. How would this be? And some landowners would probably be like mad and heck at me. But to me, it's a once in a lifetime tag.
Correct.
I can only get one. I got one. I'll never get another one. Can't even get a cow tag. As a landowner, you keep getting that tag. Okay. And that's,
you probably get drawn once every 4 or 5 years.
Okay. So if you shoot a once in a lifetime bull and you're in that area, then to me personally, it should go the next time around. If you get drawn, it should go to a antlerless, or maybe give you the option of you can have a elk and you can give it to whoever you want. So you spread that love around and give it. If it can't sell it, but if you gave it to somebody, so then someone else that's never had that once in a lifetime chance. So you're not taking away that tag from the landowner. You're letting them, gift it to a family member or to a friend, which again, you're not losing that. It's still the same tag, but you're letting someone else have a once in a lifetime chance. How would that be?
I don't know if I'm agreeing with you 100% on that, John. Because being somebody who's living with them,
right,
and having to feed them, and especially in a tough winter like this winter, definitely putting out more feed than usual, more mineral. Fences are already tough shape, and they're really tough on that. I think every 4 or 5 years, as a landowner, I think they should be able to do what they want to do. I mean, that's they're having to deal with it. Now, if they want to give it, I do agree that if they want to give it to a family member or friend, they should be able to do that. I think that should be an option that the landowner has, because I have 2 different landowners right next to me. They don't hunt. If they put in for a tag, it'd be nice if they'd say, you know what? Here's a tag. Come take one. I think, I don't know. We're getting some text messages on here. So let's see what people say about this here.
Yeah, because I don't know if it would open up a can of worms or not.
I think the landowner elk thing was about non-residents getting elk tags. Now only residents get that can get that South Dakota tag. Okay. And there's Orrin right here. Orrin, I want you on next Saturday. Let me know. He said some of the biggest fear has been that the new landowners that are coming in and buying a quarter of land are not truly buying it for production. This is what I was getting at before. They are buying it strictly for hunting, where they see these new elk units coming up. Then it comes into right away absentee landowners to family landowners out of state. There were some good arguments. I don't know if they were all justified. And that's what I'm seeing too, John, is you see these people investing in outside people. They're not even living in the states, that we hunt in. And I don't know how, that's a tough one for me, because, as I have residency, I have land in South Dakota. I got stuff in North Dakota. So I can only hunt one of the states as a technical landowner, right? Unless I get dual residency, which I don't know if that would work either. But I would love to go mountain lion hunting in my backyard right here, right? I mean, I'd love to do that. But since I have a technical North Dakota residence, can't do that. So that's a tough one. You see these people investing in land, and they do take it out of production, which I feel is not a good thing.
Yeah, and I think ours, I don't know what our rules exactly are, but to me, having someone buy 160 acres and if they lease it out to a farmer, that's a good thing. I mean, it's being farmed and producing food and stuff like that. But how many people are buying 2,000 acres and not farming it, not ranching it, and taking it out of production? Is something that I hate to see. And I've always said that. I said that's the one thing. Land right now will always pay more for recreation. There's guys with way more money than farmers and ranchers, and they're going to pay for recreation. But if a guy buys a 1 million acre ranch or whatever, $1 million ranch, but he leases it out to the Scott Bachmeyer, the young guy in the neighborhood who farms it, that's a good thing for Scott. It's a win-win for everybody. But again, if they take it out of production, so there's a lot of ifs and buts, beer and nuts on this thing. And you just don't know. I mean, every situation is different, and everybody's got a different opinion on it. And like I said, I like our gratis system right now. I think that the only thing that I didn't like is when they, you used to be able to go in and get it. If dad forgot to get them or grandpa forgot to get them, you could go in and get one, and you can still go get one, but they won't give you a buck tag. And
right.
That I struggle with a little bit, but it is what it is.
I struggle with people just don't care about antlerless deer hunting as much as I think they should. I think too many people going after bucks. I really do.
Oh yeah.
I wish there would be more people that would show up on my doorstep saying, we got a doe tag this year. And we put in for a doe tag. We didn't even put in for a buck, you know. And but I did talk with a ex Game and Fish employee about like cow elk hunting. I had a few people that had me look for cow elk, and I do a list type of thing. And there's a couple years ago. It seems to me like the people are getting, I don't want to say lazy, but some of them just don't want to put the work in. Yeah, that's one guy had a bull tag. I found 2 bulls for him. I said, it's going to be 100 yards, 200 yards of really, really steep country to get it out of there. I said, but it's doable. And he's like, no, he says, I'd rather not do that. He says, I'd rather just skip shooting an elk. And that was a once in a lifetime tag.
Yeah.
And there's people that'll help you out and get it out of there. But,
right. I think it takes all kinds to make the hunting world go around. And there's a lot of people that are lazy and a lot of people that don't have the passion. And it's just kind of a fly by the seat of your pants, and they're still enjoying it. So I guess if they want to do that and pass up a once in a lifetime tag, that's their choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on a good note here, there's 3 minutes left of the program here to go on. Oh, hold on. I got another text message coming in here. It says, let me open it up. Landowner permits should be able to be transferred to kids or grandkids, even non-residents. Interesting concept.
Yeah, the non-resident thing is, and again, so I'm in that situation now. Shelby is no longer a resident of North Dakota.
Right. She's a proud South Dakota.
Yep. And her boyfriend, they just killed their second lion of the year.
Yeah.
And they killed a giant. It looked like. So she was excited, but she didn't get to go. But anyway, so here we have land here. She's growing up hunting here, and the only way I can get her to hunt here is as a non-resident through an outfitter. So she can't hunt our property ever again with a rifle. I don't know. I guess I haven't looked in the odds of getting drawn if you can put in for a non-resident rifle tag. So it's going to be, and it's tough because we own the land. She grew up hunting here, but because she lives in another state now. And even if I were to gift her that land one day when I'm dying,
as a non-resident, she's kind of out of it unless she archery hunts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And again, that is what it is. So, like I said, so there's a lot of those little things that kind of get in the way. You make a move in life, and I guess her move wasn't a bad move because South Dakota's got some awesome hunting.
Yeah.
Actually, way more opportunities than North Dakota.
And a little bit more private landowner friendly too.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, so she's excited about it. So she'll get to cut her teeth on turkey season, and she's excited about that.
Tex says the fastest way to create a desert is to limit all use, including farming and ranching. Just look at 30-year-old CRP fields. The ground is pretty sterile, and there's no pheasants left on it. And I do agree with that. I do.
What was the first part of it?
He said the fastest way to create a desert is to limit all use of that land, including farming and ranching. Just look at the 30-year-old CRP that's still sitting out there.
Yeah.
So I agree. It was CRP was meant to take highly erodible land out of production. It was never meant for hunting, and a lot of people forget about that. It just turned into a happy thing right there for a little bit.
It is,
but if it's an old stand, there's not much in it.
No, you have to. Right now we're looking at that. We're having to redo ours. We're gonna have to put something in there.
Yeah.
I wish trees would grow a little bit faster because I put more trees in there. But God Almighty, they're a lot of work, but they sure are pretty when they get. They're growing in the cover.
There's a reason trees grow in some areas and not others. That's all there is to it.
Yep. I used to argue with my dad, why do we got to weed them? I said, when they grow in the wild, no one's weeding them. So let's just stick them in the ground and forget about them. That didn't go over.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's a lot different. And then you look at out at my place, they're growing out of scoria rocks,
I know.
Just goofy that way.
Yeah, those cedars are pretty crazy. But hey, I'm going to put in a plug for Raise It Full Draw Bow Hunting Camp, July 12th, 13th, and 14th in Bismarck. We got 11 kids signed up right now. It is $150 per kid from 8 to 5. 3 days of learning how to bow hunt from A to Z, and we'll get you certified in North Dakota's bow hunters education.
Excellent.
So,
well, John, always a pleasure here. Stay with me. We'll continue a little bit afterwards. I got a few other things here. Until then, this is Scott Bachmeyer and part of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Thanks for tuning in. Eat some meat, drink some milk. Have yourself a great day. All right, stations, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you hanging with me. John, what else? That's a wrap on another Saturday. I appreciate you always making time for me, man.
Absolutely. I enjoy it. I like the conversations. I like that. Like I said, this is how you get things figured out. You don't have to agree on things.
No, you
just
don't.
Talk about them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you think about it is no matter how passionate you are in something, if you talk to someone politely, you can have a conversation, and that's what our politicians used to do. 40 years ago or whatever, they didn't always agree on things.
Right.
It's kind of like being in a marriage. If you yelled at your wife and disagreed with everything she said and yelled at her all the time, it wouldn't last very long. But you can disagree with your wife and you can talk through it, and you're going to lose every time. But at least you do it gracefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get out the communication. I mean, I don't know. I think a landowner. I think if they wanted to, they should be able to sell that elk tag.
Yeah,
but,
and again,
but I feel that they should have to fill out the form, how much they sold it for, and reinvest that into either spraying for weeds, fencing, or water projects on said land, and turn in the receipts to prove that they use that money correctly.
Right.
That's what I would like to see if a person doesn't hunt. Levi mentioned here on YouTube, he says, or people who are lazy or scared to ask landowners for permission, then complain that landowners won't allow people to, allow them to hunt.
Well, and I still believe that's, I do. Like I said, and it's proof is in the pudding. Like I said, we've been asked very few times to hunt. With all the people, I look at all the I have friends that ask and people that, that know me. And it was kind of funny when I said the other day, when that certain kid from the certain organization here in town was bad mouthing and guys are saying, I don't let anybody hunt and whatever. And I had mentioned it to someone. He goes, well, I can speak for that. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, remember you took my daughter and my son on their first buck hunt. I forgot about that. I mean, I've done it so many times over the years that, a lady I work with, she goes, you remember when you took me turkey hunting in your backyard when I was like 11 years old? I'm like, no. So that's just part of it. That's part of being, that's I guess when you try to be I'm not trying to be anything. It's like good people help other people. And that's what makes our world go around. And it's like, it's not about being selfish. And again, I have a passion for what I do, and I'm going to fight like hell to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I'll never quit doing it. But I love to share it. I love to share it as much as I like to do it.
Yep.
Just because you don't put it out there and say, this is what I did, people want to badmouth you as a landowner. It's like right away. I don't understand the mentality of people badmouthing landowners.
Do you think the badmouthing of landowners is related to the poor relationship with our game and fish?
Well, again, I think that it goes hand in hand, because I don't think, if you went to 10 of your neighbors and asked them what they think of the game and fish, what would they say?
10 of my neighbors, I know exactly what they'd say.
Okay. And it wouldn't be nice, would it?
It wouldn't be nice. No.
Okay. And again, that is sad, because it shouldn't be that way. I would be mortified if you went to 10 of your neighbors and said, hey, have you ever heard of John Arman? And what do you think of the guy? Oh, he's an asshole. And everybody said that. I'd be like, what? You got to be kidding me. I need to change something. It's like your, perception of what people think of you, even though you don't try to appease everybody. It's like, you must be doing something wrong if everybody dislikes you.
Right.
It's one person. Yeah, I can handle that. But it's like, I would be out there trying to figure out, what I did wrong. And I had a guy do that one time. A guy badmouthed me. He said I left his gates open and that we go around hunting wherever we want. And it bothered me so much that I went down and introduced myself to the gentleman and told him, hey, I just want you to put a face, to the name. Yeah. I said, we've been hunting down here since we've been kids. I said, we own land. We have never left a gate open. We always shut gates. I said, if they're open, we leave them open. I said, and we're never on your property or anybody's property without permission. I said, I want you to know that. That's why I'm here. He goes, well, someone might have just said something. I said, I'm saying they did.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be that guy. I mean, it's like you have a reputation, good or bad, you build it yourself. And, we were raised, I feel the right way by our father.
Yeah.
And I think people need to have that relationship thing. Just look at the way our world is. It is, there's no relationship anymore. Like, again, that young kid that told me to bite me. It's like, are you kidding me? Would you have ever said that to anybody, that was double your age, let alone 10 years, 5 years older? Your dad would have smacked you. And these kids nowadays, I just think they feel like they can say whatever they want. There's absolutely no accountability anywhere in this world anymore, it seems like.
Yeah. Well, Levi just posed, he said it's jealousy and entitlement. And you see that a lot in the younger generations, you really do. But you see that sometimes in the older generation. It all depends on how they were brought up. If they were, only kid that got everything in the world, and I mean, you see that sometimes that way too.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it takes all kinds to make the world go round. And there's, like I said, Levi's a good example of a kid that's been raised right and has done well in life because he's always got a smile on his face. He's always willing to help people. And, there's other kids that aren't going to help anybody, but they still feel that they're entitled to everything.
Jamie Bragg just said Game and Fish has too much unchecked power, especially game wardens. And I agree with that because the game wardens don't necessarily, there's no black and white laws. Everything is up to the interpretation of that game warden. Well, if you have 50 different game wardens, they interpret it 50 different ways. That's got to be a pain in the, what.
It is. And again, it's one of those deals that I think people don't realize that they don't have as much power as they think they do. And again, I'm definitely not a lawyer, but I've spoken to them, and I'm not telling people to do this, but it's like even getting pulled over by them on these checkpoints, there's a lot of things they don't have a right to do.
I heard that's 100% illegal to do that.
And I think DUI checkpoints are the same thing. There are certain things that they can do, and there's other things they can't do, even though they have this checkpoint set up. And I would have to talk to someone in law enforcement. So, it's a prevention thing, but the Game and Fish, if they pull you over at one of these checkpoints, they don't have a right to go on your back of your vehicle.
Nope.
They can't search anything. They can't do anything. If you're not hunting, they have no right to stop you.
Even if you were hunting, they don't have a right to stop you without probable cause.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff and I think good wardens are good people, no different than good cops. They're courteous, they're kind, they have a tough job to do, and they can do it in a way that supports both sides.
Yeah.
But again, no different than police officers or whether it's a rancher or landowner, you're going to run into people that aren't very nice about it and may kind of be a jerk about it. So you just gotta be prepared.
Yep. We were talking about kids having entitlement here. It says those kids can visit Hardin County for a free lesson on how to gain respect. So now,
who's that from?
I'm not sure. I can't. When it comes, it just comes up with a number. But on the other hand, I'm going to have to put a little thing in there. I think there's a little legality issues with a couple of Hardin County kids that got in some pretty big trouble. So you gotta be careful who you have those kids learn that respect from. But
and again, like kids, it's like, holy cow. I mean, there's always stuff that's going on, and there's always good, there's always bad.
Yep. And you need both of it to make things. I mean, what I heard somebody say, you don't know how to be right until you're wrong, right? I mean, you have to do something wrong in order to learn as a kid what's right from wrong. And that's instilled right into you right away. If you don't touch that, my mom slapped you. Don't touch that. That's wrong. Okay. I won't do that. So I don't know. Be interesting see here the next 20 years what we'll be talking about then, John. Hopefully we're still talking about stuff.
Oh gosh, it would be fun. And again, like you said, we're the guys that if we're wrong, we'll say we're wrong.
Absolutely.
I'll be like, holy cow, I've never had a problem saying I'm wrong.
And I've never had a problem with a person calling me up and talking to me about it. And I put my phone number out there. I could care less.
And that's what I said too. I said everything that I've ever said online or anywhere has my name behind it.
Yep.
I'm not afraid to speak what I believe in. I don't think I'm overpowering. I don't slam people. I've never criticized anybody on the air or anything I've said. I may disagree. I don't agree with what they did, but it's usually followed by they also do a lot of good things for us, because I don't have many places or organizations that I don't think that do some kind of good,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I got an organization I want to start up in my head here for the last 10 years. I had it in my brain, and I don't know. It's I'll have to talk to you sometime off of YouTube. Your Waylon Turnus says they let people in, especially if they have a youth hunter that wants to try to get in there with their parents. And he says wooden spoons and hairbrushes hurt just as much.
Oh God, wooden spoons, man! I had more of those broken on my bahookie. Oh, and then if you stick your hand back there, it's 10 times worse.
Jay Burt says easy fix for all kids: a summer of fencing, stacking small square bales, and calving season. And I'm going to add one more into that, Jay. Milking cows.
There you go. Just anything. And again, I'm guilty. I'm guilty because I didn't raise my kids the way I was raised, because I hated some of the things I had to do, and I was a little bit nicer to my kids, so I didn't make them work as hard. And I wish I would have let them do more of that stuff.
Yeah, but of all the times I've ever talked to Shelby, she's a very respectful young lady. I mean, we're talking at a. I mean, I remember her. Shit, John, we've been doing this almost 20 years. Yeah, I remember her before she even got a license.
Yep.
So I mean,
and that's both my kids. Colton is no different, and he's not a ranch kid or a farm kid, but that kid is. They both are very, very kind, very well mannered, because that's the way they were raised. The respect, the holding the door, all that stuff. They're both they've were raised that way. That was one of the biggest things we talked about. Is how you treat other people. And they've both done well in life because of it. They're good kids, both successful. Not that they haven't had their little troubles, because my kids were not saints. They were good kids, but even good kids can mess up.
Jesse Flass says as long as they're available, Karina's going to be coming to that bow camp to join in with you there. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
He got his daughter into the archery, went up to a tournament, and getting her into that. And I think it was in Garrison. And it's kind of neat how they ran it. There was a Friday, Saturday, and I think a Sunday. And you could come in and shoot anytime between certain hours on any one of those days. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, it's a lot of work for the people hosting the tournament, but it allowed for, I feel, more people to be able to come through, and you can do it on your own time. So yeah, I think he said it was Riverdale. Okay.
Yeah, because I actually met her at the Mule Deer Foundation. Yeah, well, she's a tall drink of water. And then
she's only a fifth grader.
I don't know what kind of ball player Jesse was, but his dad was quite the baller up at Garrison. Yeah. I saw that his record was just broke after all those years.
Yeah, like I don't know how many years, 50 years or something like that.
Yeah,
finally got broke. Yeah, holy cow.
So that was pretty cool. So yeah, we've got
next year we need to get them on the show before the tournament. 54 years, he said that record held up.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And Waylon agrees with me for milking cows, because you can't get in too much trouble when you have to milk cows twice a day.
Oh gosh. our babysitters for our kids when they were young were college students at Mary College that were from out east from a dairy farm, and there was 3 of the girls, and they were the hardest working kids. They've all done very well in life. I think they're nurses, but they would come and babysit for us, and the kids loved to hear about them milking cows and getting up at 4 a.m. to milk, and it was like you said, twice a day.
Yep. And that means holidays, birthdays. You didn't get a day off just because there was something else going on.
No,
and when I grew up, everybody around Flasher High School anyway, everybody had milk cows, not big herds but I would say in our class of whopping 17 people that graduated, I'd say 10 of them came from dairy farms. And if we had, basketball practice was pushed around that milking schedule.
Yeah.
It's like, we could get off a little bit in the evening side, but you're not missing that morning milking.
No.
And if they said, well, we're going to have practice at 6:00 in the morning, it's like, no, you go ahead and have that. 10 of us are going to be not there.
Were you guys all selling the milk? Were you guys small producers, or is it just for yourself?
No, we were selling it. Yeah.
How do we keep that anymore? Because we don't have that anymore.
No.
Everything's, and I was listening about the dairy side of things and how they've all been pushed out. All these smaller guys have been pushed out.
So we got pushed out by a couple of things. One, age of the parents, right?
Right.
I mean, the kids moved out, went to college. They've realized milking was a lot harder. But the rules and regulations, because there was Class A milk, there was Class B milk, or Grade A, Grade B, and the state inspector would come out and inspect your facilities. And it got to the point where if you had an older facility like we did,
right,
they were like, well, you got to put brand new pipelines in. It's like, holy shit, we can't afford that. Yeah. Or you have to put, this has all got to be cement. This has got to be this way. And this has got to be this way. So, these bigger producers realizing they could go robotic on a lot of things and don't need as much help. Right. But I remember, in Raleigh, from Raleigh to Shields, everybody had milk house.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
all of our milk went to Selfridge, and Selfridge had their own little cheese plant. You could actually buy curded cheese from down there, and it made the best cheese buttons my mom would make ever was that cheese. But like South Dakota, the only place I know is like Dimmock, South Dakota sells cheese down there and their milk facility, but it's huge. South Dakota State University, their milk barn, you can go in there and buy cheese out of their store. So there are some places that still have that, but man, it's rare. I think in North Dakota, I think there's only like, what's the one south of Mandan? That one's still operating. Other than that, I don't know if there's more than a handful in the whole state.
Yeah, it's crazy how things have changed. And it's scary. Like when you think about what it's going to be like in 20 years, I don't know. I would sure like to turn the clocks back on everything.
The only thing I'd like to do, John, is turn it back and buy a whole bunch of Apple shares. Like back when I was in high school and an Apple II GS computer came out.
Oh, gosh. If I'd have just saved those computers I've had over the years, I'd be a millionaire. And I was going to tell you thank you. And Levi reminded me the other day. And so that refund that I'm getting is kind of a nice refund that from West River Communications.
Yeah, absolutely.
I forgot about that because, we were part of them forever. And when we took our phone out, and I don't know if the address didn't change over or something happened, but it was probably 7-8 years of checks.
Yeah.
So, and I had that on my phone, and Levi's dad saw it too, and Levi sent it to me. And one day I made that call, and it's like I just got a letter in the mail the other day. So that would be a nice little bonus for to stock the fridge.
The thing about it is a lot of people forget, the parents were part of cooperatives right away, and, they're there forever. And if they passed away and the kids moved away or something like that, the kids forget about it because the parents never told them that they were part of a cooperative.
Right.
And it works for both electrical and phone and internet now. So
and that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure that over the years, there's got to be lots of money that's just forgotten.
There is, but so you got to keep it on the books, and you have to try for, I think it's quite a long time before you can actually put it back into the general fund.
Right. But you think about it, it's collecting interest, and but again, it's just, you got to give them kudos for keep trying.
Yeah.
Because I'd have never seen that. I guess I have never seen that. And I don't ever remember getting it's been, I don't know how many years, 15 years since we've had a phone down there. I want to say 2000, maybe. Yeah, I don't even know when it was what we got the phone. And I wish now, hindsight, I wish we'd have run that cable through there so we'd have internet.
Yeah. You can still do that. It's going to cost more, but it is worth having internet, John.
I know.
Garrett, anybody says one of the best inventions that we've had, and I know there's a lot of bad stuff out there, but we can use it for so many things.
Oh yeah.
Levi says you should take some of that refund money and go on a hunting trip with your little buddy.
Shit. He's got more vacation time than Carter. Carter's got pills. He sent me a spreadsheet of it. All I know is Scott's not going to be happy. I saw his calendar, and there's not
he's
a lot
busy
of time.
June 2nd.
He's busy. He's busy. No, he's not busy June 2nd. Okay. Oh, I guess he is. That would be on his calendar, but it's like his fall is pretty much Scott's not going to see him.
I'll be down.
So what do you guys got going the rest of the day?
I don't know yet. We were going to enter the Nemo outhouse races down here in South Dakota, and my team quit on me.
They took a shit on you.
They all did. One guy, our ringer, he's stuck in Arizona. The flights going back into Minnesota are canceled, and then the rest of the team they had to stay home and feed cows during this cold weather, and they couldn't take time off, and so we're going to discuss it here after I get done with you. I'll talk to Dixie and might have to head home early, I guess.
I think we're heading down that way next. I don't know when it is, because Shelby, we haven't seen Shelby, so we're gonna go visit her one of these weekends.
Well, let me know. I mean, I got the place here, so I mean, it's.
Well, I appreciate it.
Definitely cozy and nice, and and the thing about it is we don't really keep the heat on here because we're surrounded on all sides, and it is just nice and comfortable, and yeah, it's crazy. I mean, our electrical and heat bill is $30 a month.
Wow. No, is this a house or what is it?
No, so it was an apartment complex way back in the day, and then it switched to a condominium association.
Oh wow.
So there's, a majority of we're on the third level, we're on the top floor, beautiful scenery, you sit out on the deck and you can see a lot of cool houses, and it looks like right now with all the snow that was dropped, they got like 14 inches here this week.
Yeah,
it looks like those old Christmas Village things that you buy, is how everything looks here. But we're right by the Mickelson Trail. We're right by, just a skip over to Deadwood or down south to Custer or whatever, right? Pretty easy access, and it's low key. It's not a gambling town.
Well, that's nice.
But yeah, we got, I would say the majority, 70% of them are probably Airbnbs here. And, the rest of us are what we say residents, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I know they got a lot of snow. I saw that, like I said, Shelby's boyfriend, they shot a big cat, and they called it in, and the amount of snow, and it was beautiful. Some of that country down is so pretty.
Yeah. Well, we got before the day I left to San Diego, I took my hired hand out and showed her how to feed and where I'm feeding at. We cut fresh mountain lion track, walking from the top of the gate all the way down right through the feeding grounds where my cows are.
Wow.
And tried everything to see if we could find it, but we couldn't. So
yeah. No, they're, like I said, pretty elusive animals. Yeah, I'm sure, wandering through.
Oh, I think they got residency down there now.
Do they?
Yeah. Yeah, they got plenty of ground. I mean, we got plenty of trees, and I guess anything along the Little Missouri, right? It's along a river basin. They're going to follow it.
Yep, exactly.
So, well, I suppose, man, I'll let you get on with your day.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Have a great day. Saturday, Dix.
Okay, will do. See ya.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen on YouTube, thanks for hanging in there with us. Just a BS session there at the end. Appreciate it. Let your friends know to subscribe to my channel. The more subscribers I get, the more I can go on my mobile device, which would be kind of handy. So have yourself a great day. Enjoy the warmer weather.